impunity, people who commit crimes during electoral processes. You never know what happens to them later on. Are they freed? Are they incarcerated? You know, and then what can be done about this so that it will serve as a deterrent for the future? I think that is the first part of the question. And the other is also, I think, linked to the question asked by our political economy lecturer. Yeah, which is also very critical, you know, the political economy of the electoral processes, about financing of electoral processes and corruption in electoral processes. And I think that question is very critical, you know, because many analyses being made in the region today, you know, point to the fact that more and more drug money is going into electoral processes and, you know, all that in the region. You know, so the financing issue is so critical. If we are talking about Guinea-Bissau, you know, people talk about the drug money, and it's not only Guinea-Bissau, it's virtually across the region. You know, so there's unlimited resources to some, you know, in order to virtually buy the electoral process. So these are two questions that have just been put to you.
Certainly, dealing with electoral offenders has been a major challenge, and in particular it's been a very serious challenge in Nigeria. We've done our best, but clearly, as the speaker said, there is need for a framework that can address the issue of the impunity with which electoral offenses are committed. In Nigeria, the Electoral Act says clearly that INEC has the responsibility to prosecute electoral offenders. But for INEC to be able to successfully prosecute electoral offenders, the police have to arrest, reports, investigation has to be done, you know, and then the courts also have to do their part in terms of taking the case to court. In INEC, we have a very small legal department. In fact, to be able to effectively have legal representation in cases of election petitions, we have to employ outside legal practitioners to be able to do that. So, I give you an example. In the 2011 general election, with the registration that we did, you know, it's a biometric registration, and I've said it repeatedly. During that biometric registration, and the little time we were able to use the Advanced Fingerprint Identification System, AFIS, we caught about 870,000 cases of multiple registration. Multiple registration out of the 73.5 million that we registered. Simple open and close keys. I mean, you registered here today wearing a white shirt. Tomorrow you go to another polling unit, you register with a red shirt, or white or red headscarf if it's a lady. So the evidence is there, but 870,000 cases. We simply don't have the resources to prosecute that. We've done our best, but if you read the Nigerian papers, it is like we've done nothing, because what we have done is just a drop in the ocean. Although some of the media people are also not up. If you go to our website, you can see the information there about who we prosecuted over what. We were able to successfully prosecute about 200 offenders. But 200 out of over 1 million cases is really a drop in the ocean. I was privileged to serve in the Justice Muhammad Lawal Uwais Electoral Reform Committee, and I know that we made a recommendation that in order to deal with the impunity of the way with which electoral offenses are committed in Nigeria, maybe we need to do something unique, and that is to establish what we call an election offenses tribunal, which will be saddled with the responsibility of arrest, investigation, and prosecution of offenders. In Nigeria, we have too many tribunals or commissions, so people are reluctant to think about a new commission with a new bureaucracy and so on. But we think that if we have to restore sanity to the electoral process and to deepen democracy, the impunity with which electoral offenses are committed need to be dealt with.